tutorial. Today we're going to be hacking WPA protected Wi-Fi networks using a tool called Fluxion. And with this we will not need to brute force WPA passwords and such like that because this can be a man-in-the-middle attack. So Fluxion is the future apparently, but Fluxion is a remake of Line Set by VK496 with less bugs and more features, and it's compatible with the latest release of Kali. And yeah. So essentially what this does is it has a lot of built-in tools for us that we can go about automating the process of breaking into WPA protected Wi-Fi networks. So not even necessarily WPA. It works for a lot of the different encryption methods and password methods. So I'm going to be doing this on my Raspberry Pi because you're going to need two wireless cards, and I built this Raspberry Pi device and haven't used it yet, so I thought this would be the perfect example to show you guys. So you might have noticed that I've done a version of this before, but this one, I can't remember, was that called Wi-Fi or something like that? And it essentially is a man-in-the-middle attack, and this one is different because it just works better. So I've already tested it before. So there's lots of different stuff going on. This is what the GUI looks like, and also it scans the network. So I'll just run you through how it works. It scans the networks, captures a handshake. So what it will do to actually capture a handshake automatically is it will de-auth everyone from the network. It can use a web interface, launches a fake access point instance to imitate the original access point, spawns an MDK3 process which de-authenticates all users connected to the target network so they can be lured to connect to the fake access point and enter the WPA password. A fake DNS server is launched in order to capture all DNS requests and redirect them to the host running the script. A captive portal is launched in order to serve a page which prompts them to enter their WPA password. Each submitted password is verified by the handshake capture earlier. The attack will automatically terminate as soon as the correct password is submitted. So this means it also has this kind of verification in it as well. So if someone enters the wrong WPA password, it won't stop the script from running because it will actually make sure it works first before it goes ahead and runs. So let's go ahead and actually clone this to our Raspberry Pi. So what you just need to do is click on the clone button here and copy the script, and then open up a terminal, and we're going to SSH into our Kali Linux, our Raspberry Pi Linux machine. You don't need to do this, but the requirements are that you need you need two wireless cards, and at least one of them should be capable of doing packet injection. So in my case, the Raspberry Pi 3 has a built-in wireless card, but it's not capable of packet injection. So I also have one of them alpha networks that I'll leave a link to in the description. I have one of them wireless cards as well, which is capable. So those are the other requirements. You don't really need to use the Raspberry Pi, but I am doing. And also I found a neat little trick for basically doing shortcuts in SSH. So I can just do SSH Kali Pi and that will work. So I'll just show you quickly how I did that. So if you go to CD SSH like that and just do nano config, if you set up your with the config file to look like this, so you type in the host name that you want to connect to, and then the actual the IP address or the host name or whatever, and also the username, you'll be able to, don't put the password in there obviously, but you'll be able to just do shortcuts like this. Not like that, not like that either, like this. So we'll just log into that. So the first thing you want to do is do git clone and then paste in the link. If you don't have GitHub installed, just do simply sudo apt get install git, and that will download it for you. Now do remember the Raspberry Pi is a little bit slower, well actually quite a lot slower than my PC, but you know, I wanted to actually use this in a real world scenario. So you could actually do this if you just drop this Raspberry Pi in any network. You could do this. It'd be really easy. So once you've got the latest version of Git, just do git clone and then paste in the link, and that will clone it into a folder called Fluxion, which will take a while to download, and well, depending on internet speed and stuff like that. So I'll just pause the video while that's doing that. So once Fluxion has downloaded, it'll look something like this, and if we do ls, you can see we've got a new Fluxion folder. So just go ahead and change directory to the Fluxion folder, and inside of there you've got installer.sh. Now this is where you're going to need to get a VNC server on your Raspberry Pi, because you can see if we do installer.sh, it's going to error out saying it should be executed inside a graphical session. So do sudo apt get, if you are using a Raspberry Pi that is, sudo apt-get install tight VNC server. This is kind of like TeamViewer for Linux, I guess, and just type in, once it's installed, tight VNC server, and that's going to start a desktop for us. So then we just need to open up a new terminal in the actual Kali, whichever machine you are connecting from. Like I said, if you're not using the Raspberry Pi or anything like that, don't worry about this. But do VNC viewer, spell it right, viewer, type in the IP address of the machine, and do a :2 because you can see it's Kali 2. So do 2, type in the password for the root user, and we can see we get a nice little desktop session here when it loads. I think that might be because I've already got one running, so let's just go back to 1. There we go. So this is essentially just TeamViewer. This is what Kali Linux actually looks like on the Raspberry Pi. You can see that it's pretty slow, but still. So let's go into the home folder here. We'll go to the Fluxion folder, and we will open this with terminal. So we'll just right click here, open terminal here, and do installer.sh, and there it goes, and off it runs. So now it's going to actually need to update it. It's going to need to update the system. It's going to need to install all the additional files, which may take a while. I've already ran through I've already ran through this installation before, so this will be very quick on this Raspberry Pi. However, this could take half an hour to complete because it's got a lot of stuff to install, so just let it run. As far as I know, it's fully automated, so you don't need to interact with it, so just leave it running and go and make yourself a coffee. That's what I did. So I'm just going to leave that running, and I'll come back when it has done. So as you start getting more into the installation, this is what you're going to start seeing. This is completely normal, of course, but you're going to start getting these pop-ups and more terminals and stuff opening and carrying on installing stuff. So leave it until it's finished. So this should be your output once you've installed everything. So you can see that it's installed Aircrack, it's installed Bully, Curl, Mmap, all this kind of stuff. So a lot of these tools will already be installed on a stock a stock Linux installation such as Kali. For this particular machine, Aircrack and AirDump and AirPlay were all installed. But anyway, let's move on. So if you type ls again, now you just need to go ahead and run Fluxion. So if you just type in Fluxion, I believe that's what you do anyway, I can't remember. CD Fluxion, is it? Let me just think. Fluxion. Ah, it's an sh file. So Fluxion, and there we go, it's going to run. It does a check to make sure it works, runs this pretty nice animation there. I really do like the way this Fluxion interface looks. It works really well. So then it's going to say select your language, so we'll just do with English. Select your interface, so this is going to be the one that does the packet injection. So for me, you can see we've got the RFOS AR9271. That is going to be the one we're going to pick, so that's number 2. So this is your packet injection capable interface. So just hit 2, and that's going to do what it needs to do. It's going to say select channels, so you can specify specific channels. These are the channels that the Wi-Fi network is running on. So if you don't know, then just go ahead and hit all channels, and then it's going to open up Wi-Fi monitor. But everything tends to be done in the main window, so let's just leave that to run. You can see it's going to come up with any Wi-Fi networks that are visible. So we've got so this has got quite a long range antenna on it, so you can see we've got Jack's room, which is going to be our target. We've also got a wireless access point. It's even picking up my neighbour's Wi-Fi, which is quite a long way away. You can see that Jack's room, you know, -36 and yada yada yada. So then once you've got collected enough of these, you've seen the network you want to attack, go ahead and press Control-C, and you'll be able to, and it's going to put that output into the same window, and you can just pick from which one you want to break into. So you can see we've got a security here. Mine's running quite a poor security. I'm using WPA instead of WPA2, but that doesn't matter. Just for this one, I'm going to go and change that actually. But you can see our channel numbers are here. So let's just run on channel 6. You can see there's quite a lot of channel Wi-Fi networks that are also running channel 6, so it might be beneficial for me to switch channels. Hit enter again. So then it's going to load up all the information about this particular network. So you can see the SSID is Jack's room, secured with WPA. It is running on channel 6. It is a 54 megabits per second wireless network, and the BSSID is the MAC address of the router, which happens to be a D-Link international router, which it is. I can verify that those are all verified. So now we have 4 options here. So we can do the fake access point with hoster pad. Is that how you say it? I think it is. So that's the man-in-the-middle attack. We also have a fake access point with airbase-ng for slower connection. So we're not really going to use that because, you know, the first one's better. We've got WPS slaughter, which is a WPS brute forcer. Now, my router doesn't support WPS, so we can't do that. And we've got a brute force, which also requires the handshake. So that's a traditional WPA brute forcing method. So you need the handshake for that. So let's just go ahead and put in 1 and hit enter. And then it's going to say enter the handshake location. So we don't actually have that at the moment, so we're just going to hit enter. And then we need to do a handshake check. So you can use aircrack-ng and pirate. So we're just going to use aircrack, hit enter, and then we're going to capture a handshake. So we can de-off all or de-off the target. Now, de-offing all will kick everyone off the wireless network, or you can de-off a specific person. So in a real world scenario, you would so let's say that everyone's connected to the wireless network, but you know that only one person in the room knows the WPA key. So you wouldn't kick everyone off because that's kind of pointless. You just kick off the specific target. Also, it could be more likely that you would get a hit with just de-offing one person than all of them, because de-offing everyone at the same time, it might make people think that there might be a Wi-Fi problem and cause them to restart the router or something like that, which means that this would no longer work because you won't be able to de-off people from a Wi-Fi network that's not enabled. So pick whichever one you want to do here. I'm going to just de-off everyone because there's only one person on the network, so I don't know. So let's just go with 1, and then it's going to go ahead and open up 2 new terminals. Now I want to show you guys on my phone. I'm going to do a picture-in-picture showing you guys that I now have got no wireless network. So let's just get that up. So you can see that my phone can see 3 wireless networks. We've got Jack's room, HD Wi-Fi cam, MB access point. If I try and connect to Jack's room, it's not going to let me in. It will say connect him and then just saved, because I keep getting de-offed. And you can see that in the actual in this terminal here, it's de-offing everyone. So what we can do then is we need to stop the de-off. So let's just go ahead and click that off, and we will connect to the wireless network, and you can see in a minute we will get connected. Eventually obtain an IP address, connected. So let's just go ahead and we will do check handshake. You can see that we have got the handshake. So now we can do, we have 2 options here. We can do the web interface man in the middle attack, which we're going to do, or we can brute force the WPA handshake we have. So you could try brute force first, but I would always go for the web interface just because it's faster. So let's go ahead and hit the web interface. Select the login page, so you can have English login page or whatever. You can also simulate different routers. So you've got a Netgear one, you've got a Vodafone one. Now this is quite good because obviously we know what the router is. You can see it's a D-Link. So it's not in the list. But I imagine you could probably build your own. If you go into sites, you can build your own in here. Yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't do that. So I could do that. So let's just go ahead and we'll just choose the English one for now. But you know, you can build your own if you need to. It will make it much more realistic. So let's just go ahead and hit 1, and that will configure for us. And you can see it's going to start opening up some new access points. It's also going to de-off everyone again and then spawn a new fake wireless access point. So now that everything's up, I've been de-offed, and my phone's going to be trying to connect to this wireless network, but it can't. But there is another one. So this is what happens. The user who is using this device or whatever, they now can't connect to a wireless network. So they're just going to try and connect to any of them, and I mean there's another one that's called exactly the same, so let's just go ahead and click that. So it's going to connect to the wireless network, obtain an IP address because this is also doing DHCP for us, and then it's going to pop up saying sign into the Wi-Fi network. We'll just click on that, and it's going to be like, for security reasons, enter the WPA key to access the internet. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'm not too bothered, of course, if people know what the password is for my wireless router. So it's Jack 123. I don't use that password for anything else. And we'll hit submit. And it's going to be like, your connection will be stored in a few moments. So once that's done, you can see all the scripts automatically close. It's disabling all that. It's doing like a cleanup, and you can see that key was able to be verified, and it presents us to it. So you can see it's verified that with aircrack that it actually worked. So there it is, key found, Jack 123, and we'll be able to connect to the wireless network with that password. So right, I want to actually go back into Fluxion again, and I want to see what happens when the user puts in the wrong password. And I imagine it will keep the same de-authing script and all that. It will keep everything alive, because obviously, you know, the Wi-Fi is not right. We haven't achieved our goal, so that you don't want it to pull out early, I guess. If it's probably the best way to do it. So single channel of 6. There we go, scanning targets, and we'll control C that. We'll choose Jack's room again, and we will do a fake access point. We will just go ahead and do root fluxion.cap, because we don't need to capture that handshake again, we've already got it. You can see it is here. I'll just delete that actually. In the handshakes folder, so that will be root/handshakes/jacks. Is that an uppercase? It looks like it is. Jacks, and I believe that's a cap file. Jack.cap, file not present. Okay, screw it, we'll just go and get another one. So we've got our handshake file, so we're going to do a web interface again. We're going to use an English page, and we'll just let that generate for us. And I'll enter the incorrect password this time, and we will see what happens. So unlike the previous tool that I used before, this one, you know, will check it, because the previous one didn't need us to get get a capture file or all like that. So this is kind of like an all-in-one toolkit. So it's pretty awesome in that sense. So we're going to connect to Jack's room again, the fake access point, and let's enter in the incorrect password, for example. So let's just put in A. Submit. The password must be 7 or more characters. Okay, fair enough. So let's just put in Jack 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Submit. Let's see what happens. The password entered is not correct, so it actually knows, and it's going to keep that script running. So it's going to stay running until someone enters the correct password, or we close the script. So let's just enter the correct password just to get past this page. And there we go. Your connection will be restored in a few moments, and then all of these will close. So it is definitely a really awesome script, and the fact that it's running on a Raspberry Pi makes it even more awesome, because you can just take it to anywhere. You know, you can drop it anywhere, and you will be able to get access to it through that. So this is definitely a really awesome thing to have installed on your portable hacking device. So yeah. Also, you can put this on your laptop, and you can go to any kind of wireless network and do this attack. It's all fully automated, and it's just awesome. So yeah, thank you very much for watching the video. This is the end, unfortunately. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that like button and share it with your friends and your family, or whoever you think will enjoy this video, because it's awesome. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you're new here. And yeah,